It's me, Patricia Cori. Hi, everybody. This is your moment of Zen. It's been a while, so I'm overdue. And my subject today is psychic protection at the cellular level. So I'm going to wait now to see if anybody's coming on, because you never know with this software and all of the buzz. Hey, Maisie! All the buzz about what's coming through or not on Facebook and other sources. Baby bear, I love you. All right, thank you guys for coming in. I like to preface this appointment that I have with you by saying that, as always, it's a stream of consciousness with no, or maybe it's unconsciousness, some will say. Without an agenda, without notes, without a plan, just me sharing. Hi, Ahmed. Thank you for coming on. Yay, Joanna! From live to live. Today, I really thought that it's about time we had a discussion about psychic protection, because there's just so much going on. And again, I want to preface what I'm about to say by saying that, number one, I'm talking to all kinds of levels of people here with regard to your knowledge about certain fields. And I ask you that you take what I share not as me thinking I know everything about any given subject, but just as my perspective on any given subject, and hopefully that perspective will add to yours in some way, hopefully in a good way. So there we go. I have been a healer for what? How many years in this lifetime? I can't even count. I did a lot of work with crystals, as you know, and I'm an old Atlantean, as I know. And I'm concerned and interested in and with so much of the information that's coming out about psychic protection. If you consider that we're being bombarded by energy devices, every kind of wave imaginable, and then others that aren't still imaginable to us. Astral critters, and let's face it, focused evil, or let's not say evil, but negative intention from those who enjoy doing that. And most importantly, and this is probably going to be the drift of my conversation today, our own thoughts. And all of this information and energy goes in, and into the cellular makeup, every single cell of our body reflecting back the information, the energy, the waves, the negativity, whatever you want to perceive that to be, all seeps down in to the cells. Okay, I'm interrupting myself here because lots of people coming in. Hola, chica! Back at you, Darren. Hi, Lawrence. Thank you for coming on. I'm going to say thank you. I feel like there was an old TV show when I was actually, believe it or not, too young to have experienced it firsthand. I think it was called Miss Nancy, where she would hold a mirror and say, and we have Mary and John. It was a very creepy kids show. And every time I do this, I'm reminded of those reruns of that show. Who do we have today? Ooh, kind of freaky. Oh, there's my Jess. Hi, sweetheart. Okay, so I wanted to start also. I never know where I'm starting. I wanted to talk about some ideas that I think are probably not quite on target, that maybe I can share some of my insights with not on target, share some insights about. Always, as you know, I'm about empowering the other, so it's an idea that I have. If your way works better, more power to you. One of these things is I see a lot of people working, putting gigantic crystals all around the computer, telling me that they're using these crystals to protect themselves against the emissions of the computer, et cetera, et cetera. So I just would like to share with you my understanding and maybe have you think about that for a minute. Here is one of my favorite, get into frame, crystal generator Why isn't it straight? Okay, here you go. Crystal generator. Generator crystals. It's a big kahuna, powerful, beautiful quartz generator. Now, to have this on your desk, I mean, we know that quartz stores and amplifies energy. And that is why it's used. I know it's a biggie, isn't it? That's why silicon is the essence of all technology, because of its ability to store, amplify, and reflect energy. So if you've got a big mother like this sitting on your desk next to your computer, are you sure that what you're doing is blocking the energy emissions coming from the computer, or are you instead amplifying them? In my humble opinion, the worst thing you can do is have quartz crystal anywhere near technology, because what it's doing is picking up the energy from the computer, the emissions particularly, because I don't necessarily think that we're going to want to get into a discussion here about is it picking up love that we're sharing with the computer. So my suggestion for starters is forget using quartz anywhere near your computer if your objective is to diminish or absorb radiation or emissions that are coming to the computer. That said, I'm just going to move this away right now because that is never my intent. I'll put it over here for now. Okay, so rule number one, again, this is my experience and I honor yours if you see differently. So it's not about making a debate about this. I'm just sharing. In my system, rule number one is get quartz away from the computers and the phones and whatever, and instead use dense stone minerals like black tourmaline. I don't have a piece here with me right now, but black tourmaline is junk rock as far as buying is what you're going to pay for it. It's buy it in clumps of raw tourmaline. It's very, very inexpensive, and it acts like a sponge and absorbs a lot of radiation and emissions. And so I use tourmaline next to my computer, in front of all my wires and plugs and outlets in the house. I've usually got a chunk of tourmaline sitting there to absorb it. And then people ask me, what do you do to clean it? And I put it out in the moon or in the sun, whatever works. And then it's back to work. And another beautiful stone that you can use to do that is any kind of volcanic stone. And here I am on a volcanic island, so it is not lacking. So just remember that it has tourmaline. The denser minerals have a quality of absorbing energy, and quartz has a quality of reflecting energy. Okay. Now, for example, here's a little. This is, by the way, not a lesson on healing with crystals. I just wanted to kick off with this. Here's a lovely little, one of my sweetheart little clusters of quartz, and it diffuses energy. So again, I don't ever have it near the computer, but you know, it's wonderful when I'm doing readings or when I'm using aroma essences or whatever to help diffuse gently, like a flower, send that energy out as a diffuser. Okay, that said, I mean, I could do and probably will do, well, I should probably do my crystal healing workshop online. If I can get my act together to actually put together an online course, I'll do that. But today I really wanted to talk about the mindset, because, you know, I'm all about that. Thought waves, mindset, and how we create our reality. So here I go. I'm losing my chain of thought again. This happens when you're going live. I've said this before, so bear with me. While there are numerous approaches to psychic protection, and while there's no question that we need to be more aware of this probably than ever before, let's not ever discount the fact that the perpetual fear or preoccupation or paranoia of being in the mindset that you need to be protected, that in itself creates the disharmony. You know this, but I want to emphasize it. So when you see people that are in a perpetual state of paranoia, they are their own worst enemy, if you will, and they need, in a way, protection from their own thoughts. And that's a challenge that I send out to anyone who wants to contemplate it. Nonetheless, I wanted to talk about how when you work with anything that you consider a protection device. For example, I've got my Syrian seal on, so I'm not poo-pooing the idea of a symbol or a mechanism or my beloved Sekhmet, which is a protective guardian that I have always near me. But it's always about believing that you are encircled in impenetrable light and that nothing can enter it unless you invite it, unless you allow it. And I wanted to share this with you because, sorry, I get thrown off when people say hello. Hello, 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 hello. I wanted to share with you my mantra, which I probably have already indicated in some other interview or video, but I just want to be sure that you contemplate this. Number one, we will do that. I will do this now. I will share with you this mantra that I use, and believe. And the most important thing here is believe. I believe that nothing can touch me. And at a time when we're terrified about censorship, and it's getting worse and worse and worse, and there's unquestionably a lot of, shall we say, dark energy out there, and you put it all together into different aspects of how people are running their energy, and there's definitely a need to be consciously aware that you cannot be harmed, you cannot be touched, you cannot be reached by any energy that is not of the highest intention. Now, am I suggesting that you go sit in the middle of Fukushima and tell yourself that the radiation can't touch you? No, that's a little far-fetched, although I bet you there are masters that could do just that, but I don't think I'm one of them because of my inborn concern and fear, if you will, of things. Radiation goes back to my childhood when we were doing this stupid duck and cover procedure. Try to dig this. So I'm a kid. What was it? The Bay of Pigs. Can't think back that far, but I was in elementary school, and we were in the terror of potential nuclear disaster because of the Bay of Pigs incident with President Kennedy and Castro and the Russians. I can't even remember the whole drama because, of course, that's what it was. But they were teaching us in school that we had to duck and cover. We had to know how to do duck and cover procedure. Okay, so duck and cover procedure, for those of you who are young, was that we'd have these drills at school, and as soon as the bell went off, the alarm, which was frequent, we'd have to get under our desks and duck our heads, something like on an airplane. When your plane is going down, do you really think that ducking your head is a solution? But anyway, the illusion of being prepared for disaster, I guess, is better than nothing. Okay, so as kids, we were doing this ridiculous duck and cover procedure, which was under the desk, get your head down, and pray like hell it was only a drill. And I remember saying to the teacher, excuse me, because I was a real pain in the ass as a kid and I haven't stopped challenging authority. Excuse me, but if nuclear fission is the problem, is duck and cover the solution? Seriously? Anyway, so I'm getting off the track, but my point is, yeah, okay, let's keep this realistic. I'm talking about the kind of psychic protection to deal with certain aspects that are more, let's say, manageable than swimming in the Fukushima Bay. And having been a person that walks between the worlds all the time and have been working as a healer and encountering all kinds of astral little critters and whatever, and because of my concern, sorry, I'm reading a message, for also the emissions that are coming from the computers, I thought, let's talk about some really powerful ways that we can create that kind of protective shield that regardless what you give, what you utilize, like my beautiful Sekhmet, like the Syrian seal, whatever you give, in a sense, your power to, always remember that in the end, it's what your mind creates. It's what you send into the cellular membrane, the nucleus of every cell, the DNA, the information that you perpetually send in determines everything. Okay, I got to read the message here. It's not a solution, Patricia. It was used right now. Oh, yeah, I know. Yes, I know, Jody. I was being facetious. Okay, so my mantra that I use, and I use this when I heal, I use this when I do readings, I use it when I get up in the morning, and when I go to bed at night, is this. I call upon the angel warriors of light, asking to be encircled in an impenetrable blanket of golden white light. And let this hold as a barrier against any energies that are not of the highest intent. Let it also serve as a beacon to those beings of the purest, highest intention, love, and light. And with that shield around me, I can feel this energy shift. I don't know if you just felt it just listening, but there's a definitive shift in the energy. And the question is, are angelic beings coming and surrounding me in their wings? Perhaps. Or is it that every single cell in my body gets that information and resonates back to me a frequency that fills my auric field with light and protection? And I'd like to know what you think about that, because that is my understanding. When I take the time, that's wonderful, Dina, thank you. I'm glad you felt it. When I announce that, when I set the intention for that, it is. And when I think that every single cell in my body reflects back to me that thought, how could anything ever touch me? No device that I'm going to say, okay, I've got my Sekhmet statue here, she's a guardian of the light, is ever going to hold any power, any more power than that. That you, commander of your being, commander of all that is you, have set the intention, you've sent it into every cell reflects it back to you. And these wonderful waves, these long waves of love and light just pass through every cell, your blood, your tissue, your organs, your heart, instantaneously. Man, how miraculous is that? I mean, I don't want to sound all whatever, but how miraculous is the instantaneous nature of thought and mind? Dina writes, I don't know if this sounds dumb or weird. God, Dina, I would never think you're dumb or weird for thinking. But I like to imagine the earth with beautiful, loving light, and I don't know why, but I do it. But I feel pretty good every time I do. Well, thank you. Keep doing that, Dina. All of us are challenged. We light workers. We're challenged to keep putting that intention out around the earth. And it's no different than saying, I want to surround my own being in a sphere of light, because just to create that energy for the earth as well is just as effortless, because of course we are the earth as well. And in this time, hi Audrey, Thank you for coming in. In this time when we're being bombarded by very strange new weaponry. Oh, that ought to get me a few trollers. That was the word. Yeah, I've gotten to where on the on social media I'm starting to do spell words differently, like wet ponds, deluded to think that a couple of spaces are going to prevent the trolls. But I do what I can. Sorry, if you hear the growling in the background, that would be the dogs. Shush, you guys. Your mom's busy up here. Nothing like a little dog intervention in the middle of a serious, and I mean serious, subject. Okay, trying to pick back up my stream of thought. And so yeah, there are these purveyors out there with every kind of product that's going to protect you psychically. And I just wanted to share with you. Okay, hold on. Dogs! Sorry. I just want to share with you this idea. I don't want to call it a conviction because I try to stay loose with my ideas, but this I'm going to call it a conviction. This conviction that you have everything you need. You are everything you need to be protected against any energies that are coming at you. As particularly when we're talking about psychic energies, you know, and as far as anybody wanting me bad, I mean, recently somebody told me, you gotta be careful, Patricia, and lower your presence because you could lower your, what was it, frequency on social media because you could create envy. And I was like, what kind of fear is that coming from? I don't create envy. I send love out. Get over that. Just watch your thoughts. Think about what you're sending into this miraculous cellular spectacle that is your being and your auric field. And if you put out ideas about yourself that you're creating envy or that people that want to harm you, you're just telling your entire being that that's the resonance frequency that you hold. And guess what? You will draw it in. And that said, let's also be careful, aware, I think that's a better word, of the kind of information we're dwelling on. And I don't think there's been a single talk I've given where I don't talk about the polarity of the two sides, the everything is love and light side and the dark, horrible, miserable, terrible stuff. Always calling you to be somewhere in the balance of these two aspects. But just remember that the more you send into at the cellular level, the information that keeps running through you is destruction and pain and suffering and horror and fear and war and more war. And, you know, it doesn't even matter. Like the Armageddon hypothesis, it doesn't even matter if it happens because you're so living your life in so much fear and terror that you don't need to get attacked. You're attacking yourself, which is where I started off at the beginning of this conversation, is beware of your own thoughts. That is the greatest psychic attack of all. If you're living in that dread of every moment, you're under psychic attack. And the psychic attack is coming from your mind. So I wanted to share that idea with you because I think it's valid. And invite you, as always, to remember that you are the master of your ship. And when I say master, I don't like that word. I am a master. But in this term, I mean you are the holder of your own being's destiny, no matter how it appears on the outside. And your thoughts emanate from, go back into this fluidity that is everything that constitutes being alive, being in a let's say, in a body. although you're not only in a body, of course, you're out there as well, out there, existing on other levels and dimensions already. Doesn't have to be something you look forward to have happening, that you already are multidimensional. And I wanted to just remind you about that at a time when there's a lot of conversation about psychic protection and what products will give you psychic protection, and what stones and what crystals and what minerals do you need to drink, and devices that you can put on your phone. And there is a lot of valid stuff out there. I particularly, and I'm not here to sell it, so please don't take it as that. I love my Syrian seal. It has its own wonderful tachyon energy, and I use it a lot. But I never, ever feel that if I'm not wearing it, I'm not protected, ever. So I invite you to celebrate the tools you work with, but never give your power to them. And I see a lot of people are talking about black tourmaline. Wonderful. It's just wonderful. And remember the property that tourmaline absorbs energy, absorbs negative energy. I would imagine it absorbs all kinds of energy. And crystal reflects, quartz crystal reflects. And then all the minerals, all the crystals have all these other properties that would be for a conversation for a much longer time. As you see, these moments of Zen started out with the intention of being like, a little message for the moment, kind of 1 minute thing. And they're already usually half-hour little flows of consciousness, which I hope you're enjoying. So I don't have the time to elaborate more on crystals, but I will. I'll do a video or a course or something on that, because I have lots of years and years of experience that I'd love to share. And it's this darn Atlantean recall thing. Oh yeah, thank you, Dawn. Dawn mentioned shungite. Lots of people are talking about shungite. Wonderful, another wonderful tool. But again, thanks, Scott. Just remember, tools are great. Nothing is as powerful as the power of your mind. Nothing can protect you better than that. And even the idea that you need protection, if you can somehow turn that around from the idea of needing protection to enhancing what already is my incredible energy shield, this wonderful, powerful light that always surrounds me. That is the greatest protection of all. And I don't live in a place where I'm afraid all the time that I'm under attack. And that said, I've had a couple of incidents of being attacked. And, come on. Always knowing that everything you are is reflected into the cells, into the DNA, and back out, and vice versa, will always help you remind you that you are the tool, you are the crystal, you are the Sekhmet goddess. Where's my toys? You are the shungite, you are the quartz, you are all of that and more. And so my message to you today was that. And I hope that it adds a little tingle to your thoughts, and that you take the time to always acknowledge that you are surrounded in golden white light. It makes a difference, and it sends a message to anything that is intent upon coming in that the door's closed. And unless it's invited in, unless it's of the frequency that is your beautiful white golden light, of the frequency that is love and laughter, which is my favorite thing, it can't come in. Guess what? It can't get in. So I want to share that with you. I hope it touches you in some way. And I'm going to let you go. Oh my God, there I am again at 30 minutes. Thank you for tuning in. And let me just say hello to everyone who has come along. Thank you, Dawn. Appreciate your comments. Lindsay, oh, sweetheart, you're a lovely soul too. Hey, Cheryl Chakowski, long time no see. Hi, Janice. Lots of smiling faces from Simone. Laughing faces. So I hope that's a good sign. Thanks to everyone else, and keep up the good work. And by the way, speaking of good work, we are just lots of drama on all the fronts as usual. And we just, I'd really appreciate it. Not that I need to tell you, you're all light workers, but just remember that all that glitters is not gold. The storylines are predominantly, excuse the term, bullshit. And remember that the drama is playing out here. It looks like Armageddon all the time. And meanwhile, the oil deals are flying and everybody's cutting up the pie and new territories are being established. So, again, rather than sitting and fretting, and is there such a word as fret? Yes, there is. Rather than cowering to the fear mongers, just remember that, hey, the worst that can possibly happen is they blow the joint up. And if that happens, we're out of here anyway. So either way, we are going to our next destination. Let go of that fear of when that's going to be, because it's predetermined. One thing I really just feel so strongly in my guts is that we know when we're coming in to this world and we know when we're going out. That's predetermined at the soul level. And everything else, well, we've got a lot of free will areas to play in, but the going out time, that's pre-established. So let it go and let's see what happens. And this is why I laugh, because either way, I accept that and I don't live in that fear. And it's been a long time coming since the days of the duck and cover drills when I was a kid. I still laugh. I look back at how terrified I was as a child. In fact, and I'll leave you with this thought, years after the incident passed and we survived, my mom found in the basement, I was 11 years old, okay? She found these gigantic cartons, like 4 cartons of batteries, civil defense manuals, crackers, the weirdest stuff that I, this terrified child, secretly put in the basement for when the nuclear bomb exploded and we had to all go down the basement to survive. I mean, this is how an 11-year-old child experienced that terror. And my mom used to say, and here's the humor part, I could never understand where all my canned foods were going. I know I'd have beans. I'd have bought pinto beans and tomato sauce, and it wouldn't be there. And she said, damn it, kid, you were making me think I was losing my mind. And instead, you were just a child that was so afraid and afraid to even tell me. How terrible is that? Don't let yourself be in that kind of fear in the basement of your soul. Okay? All right, everybody. This is Patricia Cori. Thank you for tuning in. As always, and by the way, look, I've got sun. It's been rain. I've got some sun. So I'm going to go out and enjoy that. And I send you always my love and gratitude. Thank you for listening and sharing. And thank you always for subscribing to my YouTube. While we still have a YouTube that we can utilize, please subscribe. That helps get the word out. And my website, of course, is patriciacori.com. This week, I've got the interview with the wonderful Sam Osmaganovich, and we'll be talking about the Bosnia pyramids. And I've got that coming up at the end of the week, so stay tuned for that. And more information as this little brain thinks it up. All right, so here I go. Don't forget, I am surrounded in a sphere of golden white light, and only the highest intent can penetrate and is welcome here. Aho. Take care. Bye.